Catholics.
As we look at him walking down the aisle there to the altar, and again, down the center of the aisle, we should point out his security team kind of preventing people from reaching out, and there you see him, though, hugging a little child in a wheelchair, which we saw in D.C. as well, reaching out to children in particular. Charles, his history, where he grew up in Argentina, has a lot to do with his perspective on things. And to hear some people talk about it, the perception of capitalism is different from Buenos Aires' point of view.
Well, that's exactly right. When you see him as the Pope, speaking for a universal religion, you forget that he's a real man from a real context. And that is Argentina, which was, to use the judge's words, spectacularly unsuccessful.
I want to interrupt you. That's Henry Kissinger in the second row there, just shaking hands with Pope Francis. Go ahead.
Spectacularly unsuccessful economically over the last 100 years. It started out in 1900, roughly where the United States was. We became the greatest economic power. It became a basket case. And the reason is that the capitalism practiced in Latin America, but Argentina especially, was a corrupt crony capitalism that was a disaster. Now, out of that, in all of Latin America, there developed, especially in the 60s and the 70s, what was called liberation theology, which was strongly anti-capitalist and quite leftist by a lot of the bishops. Paul, incidentally, resisted that, and he tried not to appoint bishops and cardinals of that persuasion. But nonetheless, it's a powerful movement of which I suspect the Pope was at least sympathetic in his days in Argentina, and he carried that into the Vatican. So it's completely understandable that he would complete and repeat and amplify the anti-capitalist message. It's not that he's anti-American, and it's not that I think he's in any way against the kind of democratic capitalism that we have in the West. It's just that that's the language and the ideology that he inherited. I think it is unfortunate because the moral power he carries can be translated into an ideological message. And the ultimate irony is that if you adopt the liberation theology economics, the ones who suffer the most, as in Argentina, are the poor.
Absolutely. Look,